Hey, what's good people, man? It's the Health and Wellness Dread, aka the Platinum Beta Dread, you dig it? Sometimes we don't realize that certain experiences send us a message when we're at our most lowest points. And at the time, that experience can be frightening or it can be traumatic, but there can be valuable lessons to get us out of the low place that we're at. And the reason why I say that, because I'm going to hit you up with a story that highlights the point. At the time, in fact, this is for those who are at a low place or at a crossroads and they're not quite sure where they go from here. So this is really for you, especially when it looks like there's no answer and this is it. So this is for you. Now, like I said, for me personally, this experience was not funny at the time. Certainly wasn't funny, man. But anyway, I just left my brother's house and I had my fold-up bike, which I travel everywhere with. But because he lived quite far, I decided I'd take the train part of the journey and then ride the bike part of the journey. Anyway, when I left his house, it turned out that the trains had stopped running for some reason or another and they weren't going to be running again. So, and the problem was now, it was the last train, it would have been after midnight. So I had two options, either get the Uber or bike it back. The bike ride would have been about, I don't know, 40 minutes. So I said to myself, I've done that distance before, so let me just ride it home. So I put the directions in the Google map, as it were, and started riding. 5 minutes into the journey, it took me to this dark, what looked like a dead end. So I said to myself, nah man, there must be some sort of mistake, because nothing there. So I rode around it, seeing if it would take me through a different direction. And it took me right back to that same spot, which was a dead end, black. So I said, wait a minute man, what's going on here, man? So I said, let me approach that. So I began to ride in that direction, and it was dark, man, I couldn't see anything. So I said, all right, let me just keep riding. Bear in mind now that my headlights, my tail lights on the bike are not working because the batteries are dead. So all I have is my phone. And as I'm riding, I said to myself, nah man, I ain't doing this because I can't see where I'm going, man. I turn behind me and it's black. I can't see nothing. So now it's even worse. The idea of going back is even worse. I can't see nothing. So I inched a few inches further on the bike, and then to my horror, no word of lie, to my horror, man, I looked to my left, and now I don't know how much is feet in inches. I don't know what it is, but all I know is my heart nearly jumped out of the chest. The river was literally right up my side, to the side of me, and anyone that knows me knows I'm terrified of rivers, sea, anything to do with that, because I nearly drowned when I was a youngster. So when I looked at that, I thought, my God, now I was really scared because it was dark and it's this river, and basically where I was at was a canal. And you know, canals go on for miles, man, some of them, man. So I had no choice but to start riding. And every step of the way, I was basically navigating between holding the bike, mostly with one hand, the bike handle, as I was riding, and then using the phone light to light up inch by inch in front of me, not knowing what was a few yards ahead of me. It was a really, really, really traumatic experience, man. And all the while, all I have is this little light to guide me through this blackness. As I looked to my left, in the canal, in the river, you could see these boats that it looked like no one lived in them. You know what I mean? They look like what I'd call ghost boats, where there's a few cobwebs here and there, but there's no life whatsoever. No light inside the deck, nothing. The odd time, the odd cyclist would come towards me. One part of me felt comforted because at least there was humans around, but then it was still traumatic because we both had to navigate between a little road that I was coming up and he was coming down. And any little mistake, I just kept thinking to myself that any little mistake here as I'm riding, I'm in that river, man, and no one's gonna find me until tomorrow when it's daylight. It was, and it felt like it went on and on and on and on. Finally, when I got to a place that I recognized where the stairs were, I went up the stairs, And you don't know how you don't know how grateful I was to have seen a main road with lights. But the reason why I tell that story is because we're in that darkness, and it was dark, trust me, man. That little glimmer of light coming from my phone was all I needed to get home, quote unquote. And I say this to those that feel like they're in a dark place. When we were embryos forming in our mother's womb, Mummy had no idea what was going on in the womb. She was just eating and, doing what she does, washing dishes, whatever she was doing. But there was an intelligence, a spark of light that was within that womb with us, inside of us, that was developing us stage by stage. And it didn't stop that process, no matter what Mummy said. It was between that intelligence that was within the womb and the embryo that was forming, head first, this, that, whatever stages it came to. And then finally, when the baby was ready to come out into the world, we think that that same intelligence disappeared. But that same intelligence that was within the child and with the child carried on as the child came into the world and has never left. And it's that same intelligence, that spark that knows us better than we know ourselves and has all the answers, but we lean on the outside world. Now we give that intelligence, that energy, quote unquote, a name. Some will say God, some will say Allah, some will say Jah, some will say universe. It don't matter what we call it. At the end of the day, it's always been there. Always been there. And if it knows us better than we know ourselves, but the only reason why we've been in these slumps, I call it, is because we've taken our direction, our attention from within to without. And bear in mind that this whole media, social media, the most powerful weapon that they have is to take your attention away from that which is within, which has always been within, which has always been with us. Reason being is because they can't control that. Trying to limit and box the mind is like trying to limit and box the universe. It's limitless. So they'll spend billions and billions and billions trying to keep our attention with foolishness. And that's why we end up in all these dark places, because the answers have always been there. So I want to offer that up to all of us. Don't ever think that, even if everyone else has given up on you, even if it's your family, don't ever think that all is lost, because that same spark, that same intelligence, that same energy that was forming you stage by stage and you was in the womb of Mummy never left. This isn't necessarily a religious thing, because at the end of the day, everyone made their own version of what religion is. But there's one thing that's undeniable, and that is that there's an energy, a presence that's within us, and all you have to do is look at a corpse, and then you know that that energy, that presence left. I hope that makes sense, man. Never feel like it's the end, man. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this. Have you ever been in a really low place to where you thought that you couldn't take it anymore? And was there a flip side to the story where something happened that opened up a whole new world for you, and you was able to share your story about going from deep, deep darkness into some sort of light and joy and success? I'd love to read it. And all the comments that you drop, I always reply to. It's a Health and Wellness Dread, signing off. Oh yeah, don't forget, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And we can do this again. Yeah, man.